Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
The title of this is Who Cloned Kyle Kalinske? Let me go back through it real quick. I don't know this guy.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I'm in a bizarro world right now because I don't understand nobody. Now, what is going on here? You got Kyle Kalinske, who I believe they put in the black site and replaced him with a clone version of Kyle and gave him a Stepher's wife and Crystal Ball. And I think she's in the black site too. The Kyle Kalinske I knew, not the one with the black background with the neon green lights with the Kyle Kalinske show in the background. Not that one. I'm talking about the one when he was a young brunt kid, the young Rush Limbaugh on the left who had the black background with the square back thingy in the background. That one. I would have never thought this guy would marry her because they were two opposite. Crystal Ball is a Beltway girl. She ran for Congress in Virginia. She's a news reporter. She's been married. She has kids and stuff like that. I would have never thought this young kid would marry let me shut up. I would never thought he would marry. So this is beyond me. And I know love is love is love is love, but man, all this stuff is weird. And who is this guy? It's like somebody put a chip in him or somebody brainwashed him because he is totally a suck up and a butt kisser of Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. First for Marianne Williams, but at the end of the day, it's Joe Biden. I would have never believed Kyle Kalinske would do that. Then again, I would. I know how these rich people are from Westchester and, you know, how they get down and things like that. I'm not far from Westchester myself, so I know how they get down there. Matter of fact, I was supposed to meet a friend of mine out there in Westchester. So let's go to the last video. Now, again, I said that Kyle Kalinske has been cloned. Let me make sure. Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me now? Can you hear everything? Thank you, Herman. Yeah, I got to look on my phone because the chat here, this is a new software I'm using and it's going to take me time, but I can control and navigate the videos a whole lot better than that online stuff. And the online stuff oftentimes just doesn't work, start doubling up on me and stuff like that. So I'm going old school. All right, so here's the video I've been getting to. People have been telling me about Kyle Kalinske, and that's Kyle Kalinske. I think Kyle Kalinske is in a black site, and they cloned him and gave him a Stepher's wife. So Robot Kyle and Stepher's wife, Crystal Ball, have their show with Bree Joy Gray. And this is what happened. This is my first time seeing the whole thing. So bear with me. And again, fair use. Let me make sure I got everything planned.
Welcome, everybody, to a special edition, I'd say, of Crystal Kyle and Friends. Not only is it Crystal Kyle and Friends, it's also sort of like a dual thing going on. We got Brianna Joy Gray in the house, and this will be on her channel as well, the Bad Faith Podcast.
Little crossover episode.
Love
that for us.
Definitely. Looking forward to it. So we're going to discuss Cornel West's campaign and everything around that. And I just want everybody in the audience to know, because I don't know if we've said this publicly before, that like he's been invited on multiple times, and he just hasn't come on yet. And, you know, this goes all the way back to when he launched. We invited him on. He hasn't come on yet. You know, will he eventually? I don't know. You know, it's up to him. Ball's in his court.
And we had him on before.
Before he announced his campaign. I mean, we're going back to when the People's Party.
Why would I come on the show when y'all just talk about me and try to tell me why I shouldn't be running? And you're just going to come try to shame me or try to convince me to run in the Democratic Party so they can control my campaign? Why see, folks, this is why just because somebody come on your show or somebody invite you on your show, you should go on the show. Now, I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan like that, but at least Joe Rogan has an open discussion without being judgmental toward the person that's on the show. He actually have conversations. And he's not too antagonistic with the people on the show. When you got people who already showing they're antagonistic towards you, why would you go on the show? Because it's not going to be an open discussion. It's not going to be a friendly dialogue. It's going to be it's going to be a time of harder questions, and if it don't go my way, I'm probably slap you in the face. That's why I don't do interviews, because I don't. I probably ask a hard question, and look, I might be irritated and knock you out. So I don't have the interviews. I'll go on people's shows, have a good time, but I don't have nobody on the show. I should start. I should change that. There's no excuse. And I could let you guys do the questions and let them answer you. That way I'm not insulted because you didn't answer my question and you ain't answered right and you're not listening to me, and I know more than you, and you should live. If you're trying to go over here and do this, then let me advise you, because I've been over here doing this. Like I ain't never been there. All right, so let's get back into this.
Thing launched. Right. We invited him on all the way back then too, and just haven't heard back or anything. But I just don't want people to think we're debating Cornel West, but like Crystal and Kyle are refusing to talk to Cornel West. We'd love to talk to Cornel West. We want to have him, we'd love to have him on at any point in time to discuss anything and everything. So we're going to discuss his campaign a little bit here. And so I want to lay out what my position is, and then Bree, I'll turn it over to you, and you can respond to it. And Crystal, you can jump in at some point and say what your position is.
We'll go through all the things.
We'll go through all the things. So here's my, first of all, in the Democratic primary, because I'm a registered Democrat in New York, I will be voting for Marianne Williamson. Very happy and proud to say that. I'm the chief Marianne Williamson bro out there.
He's the chief Marianne Williamson bro. And he's going to vote for Marianne Williamson in the campaign. I get that. It's a primary. There's no risk in New York voting blue because it is a hard blue state. So, of course, it's easy to vote for Marianne Williamson in a primary. That's no big deal, Kyle. You're not showing yourself to be a man or showing yourself to have some balls or guts. You don't got them anyway. They're in her purse. Look at her all giddy. Who convinced? I'm telling you, this ain't Kyle, man. Kyle Kalinske wouldn't wear his hair like this, man. Who is this guy? He's a clone Kyle.
I'm leading the charge. Now, in New York, I'm in a safe state. So would I vote for Cornel West in New York? Yes, because I have a 95% agreement with him on policy. And I think it would be nice to get the Green Party in a position where if they become more viable because we get ranked choice voting or something, it'd be nice to grow their popularity a little bit. And when we get ranked choice voting, I think they kind of automatically become a lot more viable. So I'd like to help out in that process. But if I'm in a swing state...
Now, let's stop there. I'm going to vote for Marianne Williamson in the general. I mean, in the primary, because New York is a closed primary state. Have no choice. Happily, it's my honor and privilege. I'm a stand. We got a triangular relationship going on. Where me, Marianne, and my wife, we're in an entanglement. But in the general, I'm voting for Cornel West. Why? Because it's safe for him. See, Kyle ain't got no balls. He don't have no guts. He don't live. When it comes to voting, he's not an edgy person. He's not a revolutionary person. He's not a renegade. So I don't understand how he considered himself one of the leaders in the revolution during the time when Bernie Sanders was running, but he considered himself one of the political advisors, leaders in the revolution, but he's too scared to vote regardless of where you are. If you just said that you believe majority of this man's policy and you know Joe Biden don't believe in that policy, and the only difference is this guy need to be in the position where Joe is, and you still saying you're going to vote for Joe, how stupid, dumb are you? Ignoramus is not the word. You just agreed with this man's policies. but you ain't got the balls to vote for him in other than the swing state. In the swing state, you ain't got the balls to vote for him anyway. Well, we need that state to swing blue. Now, it don't matter about blue if you believe in this guy's policy. If you believe in this guy's policy, you'll do whatever you can to get him elected. You'll be rallying the base. You'll be churning the pot. You'll be making phone calls. You'll be knocking on the door to get him in office, not Joe Biden, who's not with your policies. Oh, he'll do some lip service for some of them. But still, at the end of the day, it's just lip service. He don't support Medicare for all. He'll veto it. He pretended to cancel student debt and allowed it. He could have canceled student debt, but he allowed it to default. And now, okay, I got another way to do it. You should have did it the first time, fool.
And it's Biden versus Trump. I'm at the point now where I don't even think it's a tough call. I would definitely vote for Biden because either in that situation, even if other people are running.
If it's Biden versus Trump. No, it's in this election. There's three choices, Kyle. Biden versus Trump. And if Cornel West get the nomination in the Green Party, which 9 times he will, he's already polling at 6%. So all he need is 5 in the general. He's already polling at 6. Not in the Democratic poll, not in the Republican poll, not in the Green Party poll, but in a general election poll, he's polling 6%. So if we were to have an election today, he would be on the debate stage. That's if they don't decide to change it, because you know they like to rig things. And he'll be able to challenge both of them and still get some things done for the Green Party. So he's in a good position now. Certain people are going to do whatever they can to kind of derail that, cause division and things like that to derail that. But he's in a good position now. But again, for Kyle to say, I agree with a lot of his policies, so I will be voting for him. Let me go back.
Where if they become more viable because we get ranked choice voting or something, voting for Marianne Williamson. Very happy and proud to say that. I'm the chief Marianne Williamson bro out there. I'm leading the charge. Now, in New York, I'm in a safe state. So would I vote for Cornel West in New York? Yes, because I have a 95% agreement with him on policy. And I think it would be nice to get the Green Party in a position where if they become more viable because we get ranked choice voting or something, it'd be nice to grow their popularity a little bit. And when we get ranked choice voting, I think they kind of automatically become a lot more viable. So I'd like to help out in that process. But if I'm in a swing state and it's Biden versus Trump, I'm at the point now where I don't even think it's a tough call. I would definitely vote for Biden because either in that situation, even if other people are running, either the Democrat or the Republican is going to win. And in my estimation,
these people are defeatists. They're the type of people who say it's just the way it is. Don't try to change it. Oh, they can go out there and march all they want. At the end of the day, there will be no segregation. Blacks gonna stay where they are. We gonna stay where we are, because that's not what this country do. We don't mingle and mix. It's always somebody being a defeatist. He's trying to spread his defeatism to other people. At the end of the day, it's just going to be Democrat. I heard so many people keep saying the reason it's like that at the end of the day, because people keep believing bull crap like that. They said, whether you can or cannot, either way, it's true. Why? Because it's whether you're going to believe that bull crap. If you're going to believe you can't, guess what? You can't. If you're going to believe you can, guess what? You can. Start letting these people tell you this mess. You need to hit them back. Who told you that? No, they ain't. This is a new day. You got a well-known man. I mean, even if Jesse the Body Ventura was running in the Green Party, he would still get about 7, 8, 10, maybe 10%. So what do you think Cornel West may do? Especially when he do things that the communities are telling him to do. He can get majority. He could take votes from Trump, black votes. The black increase of votes that Trump got, that can decrease if Cornel West go to the black community and say, I'm going to do ... for you. the needs that you have, whatever it's going to take to bring you equal to foundational whites in this country, I'm going to do it. He's going to command a lot of black votes away from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. But now these defeatists, they want Cornel West to get less black votes as a black man. If Cornel West go to Trump country and he find out what Trump country want, I'm going to bring job back. I'm going to do this and do that. And I mean, because the man is not dumb. He's an intellectual. Sometimes you can be too smart where you don't have no common sense. But this is common sense. Find out what the people want, offer it to them, and come up with a concrete plan to actually give it to them. Don't just talk crap, trash, BS to people. Tell them exactly how you're going to do it. What cut you're going to have here, what cut you're going to have there. Tell them exactly how you're going to do it, and people will support you. Cornel West can win if he take care of the needs of the people, especially his people. Because the black vote has been the one that have been making the Democratic Party king. And when that vote start leaving the Democratic Party and going to Cornel West, his chance of winning, Cal, would be greater than ever. Cal, nobody wants Joe Biden. People feel like they have to because they're in a cult. They're part of an entrapment. They've been in this thing for a long time. They're going to vote Democrats straight down the ballot and don't even know who the people are. They're going to slut vote all day and all night. Slut vote. S-L-U-T. They're going to be slutty about their vote. No relationship or nothing. You can get this. I ain't even got to know you.
Biden has definitely passed what I would describe as my bare minimum purity test. And I think if it's him or Trump, or even him or DeSantis or anybody,
What the hell is a bare minimum purity test? So bootleg Cal, clone Cal, has a purity test. We all got a purity test. Cal, the problem is our purity tests are not yours, never going to be yours. You're going to have some people who may have the same purity test, but my purity test is not the same as yours. So if Biden passes your purity test, don't mean he passed mine. But yeah, you're probably going to sit here and tell people, well, I approve of them. And since you guys listen to me and I know more than you and you actually believe I know more than you, and therefore whatever I tell you, you're going to do it too. I'm going to tell you why I support Joe. It's because he passed my barely purity test. And if I can support him, you should too.
just blows them out of the water. And so I think I'd happily vote for Biden in that instance. Your response?
So I similarly was voting for Jill Stein in New York in 2016.
I did the same.
And I also happen to believe that strategically it makes the most sense to apply pressure to the Democratic Party by voting for not Biden in a primary. Marianne Williamson is obviously the most progressive candidate in the primary, and then vote for Cornel West in the general. And I know there are a lot of people in my audience who are frustrated by that plan because they think that it takes something away from...
Ain't nothing progressive about Marianne Williamson. She's cosplaying as progressive. She is a Hillary Clinton Democrat. Her and Hillary Clinton has been friends for decades. She has preached at her events, hosted her events, she's prayed with her. I can go into detail about the creepiness of some of the things that Marianne Williamson did and what happened, according to Bob Woodward. How the spirit of Eleanor Roosevelt was speaking through her, according to Bob Woodward. Let me stop. It's true. But let me get off this.
Cornel West's run, or it affirms the Democratic Party in some way to vote for Marianne Williamson running as a Democrat. I don't feel that way. I feel it's a little hypocritical to have that position, given that we all just enthusiastically voted for Bernie twice in the primary the last two rounds. You can make a distinction saying that Bernie was an independent and he always identified as an independent, and Marianne Williamson doesn't have that kind of cloak of distance from the Democratic Party. You can say what you want. I don't see those things as mutually exclusive in the least. So that is also my plan. I differ from you only insofar as that I would say it's a more difficult choice in a swing state to decide what you're going to do. But I frankly respect people who feel comfortable. It has not been something that I have to contend with, but I respect.
Why the hell is it more difficult in a swing state? No, if somebody have a platform that you want to see manifested in your lifetime in your city, it's simple. Vote for them. I don't care if they are the underdog. You vote for them. Stop falling for this mess where I don't think he's going to win, so I'm just going to take my energy over there. No, you have to say he can win. I don't care who it is. If they're right down the line of your core conviction, you give them your vote anyway. Everybody loves a Cinderella story. Everybody loves something. Look, Barack Obama, he wasn't going to win against Hillary Clinton, but Barack Obama found some way to smooth over the superdelegates, which is part of fascism. Somebody else making the decision over the people, that's fascism. It's like members of the Third Reich, you voting to get Hitler out, and members of the Third Reich decide to keep him in. To me, that's superdelegates. Stop letting these people tell you something can't happen. Anything can happen, even if it's a miracle. I believe in miracles. I've seen miracles happen. Miracle happened to me before, a few times, out of the blue. Made me more of a believer. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe in that candidate. And if you sit there and fall for this, well, in the swing state of, I'm not going to risk fascism. Whether you vote for Biden, whether you vote for Trump, you're still voting for fascism. Whether you vote for Biden, whether you vote for Trump, you're still voting for, here we go, Jimmy Dore, white supremacy being in control. When you vote for Donald Trump and vote for Joe Biden, you're still voting for union busting and stopping strikes. Joe Biden, Donald Trump. When you vote for either one of these fools, you're voting for war. Ukraine and Russia on Biden's side, China on the Republican side, and even on the Biden side. You got to stop China. I can go on and on and on that at the end of the day, your vote is going to usher fascism anyway. Which one do you prefer? Bud Light or regular Bud? Either way, it's still Bud. So that's why I understand this debate between Cornel West and Jimmy Dore. Cornel West said, well, he's just a lighter version of fascism than Trump. I'm not getting into the debate. Light fascism, hardcore fascism, and fascism. Both of them need to go. Stop trying to defend one. Stop trying to cover up for Joe Biden, Cornel West, and stop trying to cover up for Trump. Jimmy Dore saying, and I know Jimmy Dore thinks, Jimmy Dore say he believes Trump is a fascist and he don't support that guy. But you need to stop. You need to start saying that. A lot of times people don't say that is because they don't want to lose some of their base. The base been supporting them and keeping them on YouTube and stuff like that. And if I offend their base, they're gonna leave. It's the same thing that he's telling Cornel West. He believes that bias about himself. If you say that to them, you're gonna offend that base, and they ain't gonna want to have nothing to do with you, Cornel West, which is probably true. But that's the risk you take. And the same thing with you. You're afraid to say these things on your show and things like that because your show ain't always about class. Sometimes it's about war. It's about equality and things like that. And who's at the end of most of that stuff? White supremacy. But nobody wants to talk about that on their show because they're going to lose a certain base. My show, even though been laxy-daisy with it, but a few years ago, I was climbing up the ladder. I was doing about 100 to 300 new subscribers a day. But the moment I started talking about black issues, I lost a lot of the progressive base because a lot of progressives don't want to talk about black issues. And I say to hell with them then, because I'm not going to stop. I care more about my core conviction than trying to win something for the sake of you all. I'm not kissing nobody butt around here. My number one priority is my community. My number two priority is the working class. I'm a former union worker. I fight for workers. But I fight more for my people here in the Bronx. Let me keep going.
People who feel comfortable voting third party, even in swing states. The reason is this, and it goes back to that early bad faith viral Noam Chomsky interview, in which I asked him about a month before the 2020 race. Look, I said, I take your point. Let's say Trump is an existential threat. Let's say that he's a unique threat among all Republican candidates. My concern is that every year, because we all vote for blue no matter who, because most Democrats vote blue no matter who, or most left-leaning people do, the message that gets sent out is that Democrats don't have a bar. You can go as low as you want, as close to the Democratic Party as the Republican Party as you want, and there's a ratchet to the right effect. And Republicans know that they can keep being more and more extreme. And so I want you to explain to me what you predict to be the stopping point at which we're no longer saying this new Republican is the worst that has ever happened. This new Republican is the worst that has ever happened. Tell me you're not going to be saying the same thing about Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy or whatever other person comes down the pike.
That's all they have to say to try to keep you voting for them. Fear, fear, fear. Oh, George Bush going to take y'all back to put y'all back in chains. That was Biden. They're going to put y'all back in chains. Biden said that. And I had people that I know in my neighborhood. You know, that Reagan boy, horrible, man. He going to have y'all, next thing you know, he going to be hanging y'all from the roof, from a tree. Come on, guys, you ain't got to do that. The bottom line is if you're a better president and you've done things for the people, I'm going to vote for you. If you have not, I'm not going to vote for you. I've given you 4 years to really do some radical things for the people. You had a Congress for 2 freaking years. 2. And you ain't do jack. That is significant for the people in certain parts of the Bronx, Parkchester, South Bronx, Castle Hill, all you ain't did jack. You haven't done a thing, AOC. I did this and did that. That's for a select few. The majority of people you ain't doing nothing for. So this quagmire has to stop. This always constantly boogeyman. We got to come together to stop the boogeyman. Boogeyman. We got to come together the next year to stop the boogeyman. Boogie woman. We got to stop together to stop the boogie woman. Boogie, 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 boo. Boogity, boogity. Boogity, boogity. Always trying to prop up a boogeyman. Don't get me wrong. Trump, he ain't as fascist as Vivek, and he ain't fascist Ron DeSantis. So you get rid of Trump, you're going to have these 2 guys. And these 2 guys would love to be in the position of winning the Republican nomination because these 2 guys going to beat you because you got Joe Biden. You got Sleepy Joe. You got Joe that's not here. You got sedated Joe. Low energy Joe. Forget jab, Joe. You got a grandpa, almost 80 years old, pretty much out of it, running this country. And people don't want that. And they don't want no doggone Kamala Harris.
And he was unable, in my subjective view, to respond credibly to that claim. So if somebody could tell me strategically what the stopping point is going to be of making this argument of the lesser of two evils, I would be open to the idea that, okay, this is the last one. Donald Trump, fine. He tried to steal the election, fine. That is a new line that he has crossed. But absent an acknowledgement that we are creating our own destiny by lowering the bar in these ways, I'm not comfortable coming out and criticizing anybody who no longer wants to be complicit in that kind of a system that's enabled the Democratic Party to not have a primary, treat Marianne Williamson as badly as they've treated her, treat Bernie Sanders as badly as they treated him, and openly come out and say they don't have to hold a free, fair election. The DNC argued that in court, you know?
So let me explain a little bit of my position. I think that'll help respond to.
All right, I want to say that for the numbnut on YouTube that's always trolling. Oh, that's always defending Hillary Clinton, saying that she won fair and square. No. There was a lawsuit, and in the lawsuit, they say they can cheat anytime they want. And guess what? They cheated. Cheated. Superdelegates are tools to cheat. It's like a cheat code for a video game. You ain't that good, man. You use the cheat code and can't nobody shoot you dead. So, of course, you can shoot people when you can't. Somebody can't shoot you. Get out of here, man.
Some of what you said there. And I'm also curious to dig in a little bit more to your analysis of how the Biden administration has actually been in reality. So last election in 2020, I did live in a swing state. I lived in Virginia, still live in Virginia, registered in Virginia. And it did not feel good to vote for Joe Biden, but I decided to vote for Joe Biden, which is something I said publicly at the time. But I said something very similar to you, which is like, listen, this was not easy for me. If you, wherever you live, swing state, not swing state, et cetera, you do whatever you analyze is the right thing to do. And the reason that I voted for him primarily at that time, even though I thought he had an atrocious record in the Senate, even though, you know, complicit in the Iraq War, complicit in bad trade deals, complicit, you know, like terrible things on crime.
So why you vote for him? Oh, it didn't feel good. Obviously, what feelings got to do with it anyway? You don't vote because you feel good. You vote because you have a desire to see things happen, change to happen. So you voted for a man. It didn't feel good. You voted for somebody that ain't gonna change. You voted for somebody who decimated the black community, but that don't bother you because you're Barbie and Ken.
I'm all that stuff, right? The primary reason I voted for him was because of the National Labor Relations Board and because labor politics and building out union power in this country, to me, is one of the most important goals. And
folks, this is the tool they're going to talk about right now. Because the working class and labor is a good buzzword that touches everybody. She's saying she voted for him because of the NLRB. What he got to do with the NLRB? Somebody tell me, what do he have to do with it? He don't appoint people to the NLRB. And the NLRB got some wins. Ain't got nothing to do with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is stopping strikes. He's shutting protests and stopping strikes. The UAW workers are about to go on strike right now. You know what happened the last time the UAW workers happened when Biden met with them? And I wish I had the video up. Biden was going toe-to-toe with the dude. The dude mentioned Trump and some of the plans Trump had about car manufacturing coming back to the United States and stuff like that. They looked into it. It was on Trump website. At least Trump was talking about it. Big lie. But he was talking about it. And he actually had a plan. And he wanted to fight the dude. You want to go outside? Shut up, fat. Who you think you're talking to? Nigga, I'm talking to you. But they're going to pull this bull crap about the labor union or the National Labor Board. Get out of here.
Something that I think we all share and leftists generally believe. Now, in retrospect, not only do I feel good about that vote, he's actually surprised me. Now, I've got all kinds of issues.
You feel good about the vote.
On the National Labor Relations Board, though, specifically, they just issued a ruling which could be a complete game changer for unions. And just to explain to people a little bit, basically, in the past, bosses could union bust with impunity, no accountability. Now, the process going forward is completely changed. If bosses are caught union...
Yeah, the process is completely changed. Forget the bosses interfering. Congress can stop it. Your political leaders, the one you voted for, they can stop it, and they will, and they have. Look at Cal. That's right, baby. You tell him. You got that talking point down right. You know, you go ahead, you robot, you robot.
In busting, then that's it. There's no more election. It's canceled. They have to recognize the union and start bargaining with them. That's the biggest shift in labor relations we've had in our lifetime. So that's why at this point, I'm not only, it's likely...
Folks, I'm an organizer. It's not that simple. And we're going to go over it one day. She's lying, trying to make this seem like it's a simple thing. At the end of the day, Congress can stop a strike, and they have, and shame on them for doing it. But vote blue no matter who, right?
I'm a Marianne supporter as well, but we can all see the most likely outcome is it's going to be Trump versus Biden. Not only would I say that...
There they go with that bull crap. No, you can see. I can't see. You can see that because you're a defeatist. You can see that because that's what you want to see.
That protecting the Biden National Labor Relations Board isn't important enough for me to vote for Joe Biden, but it is...
They made up that word. That is a talking point word. There's no such thing as a Biden labor relationship board. Just because it's the leaders who made that decision while Biden was the president, don't have nothing to do with Biden. Biden had nothing to do with that. Stop that crap, Crystal. It's not a Biden national. No, it's just a National Labor Relations Board. That's it. So what you gonna say next? The Biden McDonald's? The Biden Chuck E. Cheese? Just because it's got a good sale during the Biden era doesn't mean that it's because of Biden that sale went down. Stop. These people, what world are we in? It's upside down. These people make no sense. Come on, people. Jesus.
Important enough that I would actively encourage, but I'm not going to shame them for whatever they decide to do, but I would actively encourage
yes, you are.
People who are in a swing state to vote for Joe Biden, if for no other reason than to protect that board.
So I think
that board is going to be protected whether Joe Biden is in office or not. They're trying to use this as a tool to fear you that if you don't vote Biden in, we're going to lose that board. Not. And again, guys, at the end of the day, you can have the best labor board in history. Allowing the Congress to shut down a protest, a strike, is anti-labor. And who did that? Democrats. Majority Democrats. Republicans, they gonna join in. It's like, look, we ain't gotta do no work. Y'all doing our bid, man. Just tell me where to sign. I ain't gotta argue with you. Y'all anti-labor. We been anti-labor. Now y'all actually anti-labor. What's up? Look, we friends. Friends, how many of us have them?
it's a perfectly defensible position. And I had this conversation on my podcast in the last episode, and there were people who would characterize that position as, I mean, you've heard the thing, you've been on the internet, being too credulous about Biden, or, being too comfortable in one's own position in life and not needing enough change and being happy with the status quo. People will say things like that. I think actually that if your priority, if you believe the path to meaningful change is going to primarily come through a kind of, I don't say this dismissively, but a kind of labor incrementalism, meaning there are meaningful labor gains that happen, but are not the type of which would radically transform the system the way that some people want to happen in a shorter term. And the way that some people might argue Bernie Sanders represented his movement as the goal of being, then that's a defensible position. But I have to hold space for the reality that there are people for whom, even as significant as those labor gains are, it's simply insufficient. And what they see when they look at the trajectory of the last 50, 60 years of Democratic Party politics, when they read Listen Liberal and see the longer game the Democratic Party making a concerted choice to back away from labor in a way that has gone on for decades and isn't necessarily turning around as a consequence of Joe Biden having some good NLRB appointments.
So
let me actually,
and then I want to jump into it.
So number one, I don't think that in like massively increasing union density, I actually don't see that as incremental change. I mean, if you look at the chart of the decline in the middle class and the decline of union density, you'd be hard pressed to find a more significant factor.
I've made these arguments as well.
But the other piece is, I feel like those same people who are right about the Democratic Party, they were right about the analysis in Listen Liberal, right about the fact that you had, this free trade bipartisan consensus, and in large part a union busting bipartisan consensus, also don't acknowledge that there actually has been a notable shift in the Biden administration. Now, my big issue with the Biden administration, I mean, there's a million of them, right? On foreign policy, I've got problems. But my biggest issue economically with the Biden administration is the way they've allowed the pandemic relief, the short-term pandemic relief programs to fall away and leave a lot of ordinary Americans in a more precarious financial position now than they were at the beginning of the administration. And that's not nothing. But when I look at the long term, when I look at the fact that, listen, with the Inflation Reduction Act, with the CHIPS Act, with infrastructure investment, you're talking about industrial policy in a way that would have been completely unheard of in the Clinton-Obama era. When you look at not just the NLRB, which I said is like the core for me, but also his antitrust appointments and the fact they're really trying to reverse decades of neoliberal attack on any sort of trust busting.
All right, let me go to this NLRB. Now, again, I will say this one more time. Appointees. Okay, Biden appointed the NLRB. The fact that you put somebody in position of power and you have the Congress to approve those appointments, but you give Congress the ability to usurp the people who you put in that position. I will continue to say, she's talking about, the NLRB, they made this thing where, if you interfere, you have to recognize them by a union. That's a trick bag, and I like it, but it's still at the end of the day, who has the ability to shut down a protest if it's not the bosses that's going to be able to do it? Congress. We have weaponized the U.S. Congress to stop strikes. That's undermining the whole NLRB appointment. What's the use of putting all these people in power, appointing them and giving this position when if they decide to push something this way, you're going to push it the other way? So that does not mean anything, crystal ball. But let me relax. Get back to it.
I feel like none of those improvements that have made Biden on that front way better than Obama, way better than Clinton, I just feel like there's no willingness to acknowledge any of that whatsoever.
I don't think the issue is acknowledging it. It's how much it matters to you, how weighty that is to you, and how much you see those kind of call them meaningful improvements as really core to the nature of the project that you're on. And I think that what some people are frustrated by is that this went from feeling like, in both left media and left politics, a bigger revolutionary project that was going to the core of our capitalist system and wanting to radically change the way that human lives are valued, what we consider to be the nature of our social safety net, what we believe to be the nature of what we consider to be human rights. And they wanted to join a movement that validated what many of us felt intrinsically, emotionally for most of our lives, that something in the milk very much wasn't clean. And Bernie came along and articulated that it was legitimate for us to be asking for something more. Mm-hmm. And so at this point, it does feel as though there has been a kind of a bait and switch. It's not that what you're describing isn't true or legitimate. And I said this on my podcast. If your priorities are what you have kind of articulated your priorities as being, I think it's a perfectly legitimate argument. But I have to hold space for the fact that for many people, it simply is inadequate.
Wait, can I respond?
Yeah.
In other words, what Bree is saying is majority of Americans don't care. Most Americans work on jobs that are not unionized. Walmart is not unionized. McDonald's is not unionized. Burger King is not unionized. Some of the grocery stores got some unions. Most of them don't. Folks, the things they're happy about concerning Biden, most people are not experiencing that. Student debt, like I said, majority. I don't have no student debt. I don't owe no money when it comes to student debt. You have to actually go to college, pay for college, and you got to get a grant loan, whatever. I ain't do that. Majority of Americans are not worried about student loan debt. A lot of people are not worried about the abortion ruling because a lot of people don't get abortions. A lot of people don't put themselves in a position to get abortions. Even though the woman should have some rights to her whole entire being. Now, you know my stance on abortion. I think there should be some restrictions on abortion. You shouldn't be up there having sex with Tyrone without protecting yourself. All of a sudden you get pregnant and you're going around saying, me and Tyrone going to have a baby. And then 2 weeks later you find Tyrone with another woman. Now you want to get rid of the baby. Come on, son. You're being a coward and a punk. That's stupid. Now, there's some people who, you're 11, 12, you got raped by somebody and your body can't handle a pregnancy. It's going to kill you both. That's a different story. Majority of things that Joe Biden has been, implementing doesn't affect most of America. That's why most of America could care less. But yet these people want you to care for these policies.
Let me jump in here. So my issue is that many people on the left are, I would say, dishonestly refusing to acknowledge any good things that were done. We could all on the
He's calling you dishonest. Most people don't even know the things that Joe Biden done. And once you give them a list of the things that Joe Biden done, they're saying so. And it's just like with Trump in the list of his thing. So, and it's not affecting me and my family. How is that affecting me? Light bill is still going up. Rent still going up. Car payment is going up. Gas is going up. My job the minimum wage ain't going up. I can't get insurance. My job don't have a union where it can provide me these benefits. So why do you feel like I need to be, man, if you don't go sit your rich $1 million behind now, you and your wife are worth multiple millions of dollars, and you're going to sit here and tell the working class, definitely black people, that you need to be more appreciative. Black people is going to be appreciating whoever's running the Democratic Party. My problem is with black people is we keep supporting these people and they ain't doing nothing for us. They doing everything for everybody but us, yet we're going to continue to be the ones to keep them in power. That's what you call a sadomasochist. And we need to stop doing that, and we're going to stop doing that. That's why we're opening up the third parties. Kaiden, that's my goddaughter. Kyle is upset that we're not recognizing we're not being fair we're being pretty much idiots because we're not going to give him credit. No, you're an idiot because you're giving him credit that's not affecting most of America. It may be affecting you in your pocket. Y'all got it made. Y'all got it made. Your house is probably paid for if you're smart. Knowing Kyle, all that money he made when he was young, Kyle is sitting on millions. Kyle never dressed like he got a lot of money. And I think Kyle, I think he probably was renting at that time, the whole time too, when he, up to this point where he married Crystal. Kyle's worth a lot of money. Crystal worth a lot of money. Her ex-husband worth a lot of more money. Her kids are worth a lot of money. Kyle's stepkids. This is this Mika and Joe crap. He's going to say we're being disingenuous.
So my issue is that many people on the left are, I would say, dishonestly refusing to acknowledge any good things that were done.
Most people on the left don't give a dang about the Democrats. Most people who are left are not Democrats. Most people on the left are independents. Most people who are conservative are independent. But yet they're open to some left ideas and vice versa. You can't put people in the box and you can't assume people are part of your party. You guys are losing when it comes to the electorate or the potential electorate. You don't have enough people in this game. You look at the amount of Americans, people in the United States that's actually living in the United States, 18 and older, eligible to vote, and you look at how many people are in these parties. There's a huge disproportion. A huge.
But all on the left list, like, here's the 57 things we hate that Biden did. But when something good happens, I'm the only one talking about it, and then I get accused of being a DNC shill.
You're the only one?
Now, I'm not like, look, I'm not blind.
You the only one? You arrogant. You the only one. Man, there's so many people out here touting that stuff. You ain't the only one. You got that little kid out there, out there bouncing around like some idiot, talking about Joe Biden did, whatever his name is. You're not the only one, Kyle. It's a lot of people that's like that. The problem is you want everybody to be like that. That's on the left, and everybody else on the left has left. We've checked out. We're not in this thing. You know why? Because you're not in our thing. Your boy, that pathological lying, bigot, racist with rape allegation, that racist, fascist pig, Joe Biden, ain't did nothing for us, and we don't want. Black community, I got you. I understand it was you who put me over. I got you. Okay, we still waiting. Where's our crime bill? Y'all got the Asians and crime bill in 3 freaking days. Where's ours? You don't want to give us one. Your boy don't want to give us one. Kyle, your boy that you tout that should get all this credit, he don't get no credit. He could have did everything in the world that's so-called good for you. That one incident make me say no to you. If you don't have the guts to really push hard for a crime bill for black people, I mean, not a crime bill, but protection bill for black people. Oh, we already got one. If you're not doing something to reinforce the one that we got, to make sure it's solidified and executed to its perfection, then we tuned out. Because there's some things more bigger than just the NLRB. More bigger than Medicare for all when Tyrone up the street got strangled out by a cop.
I think in order to be intellectually honest, you have to look at, here's the good things that happen, here's the bad thing that happened, I'm going to give them all to you, and then you could judge how much you value each and which one you weigh more and how that factors into your voting analysis. But I was like the poster boy back in the day, or people viewed.
That's your strategy, Cal. That's not our strategy. And it's not going to be our strategy.
Me this way, as he's the purity tester. He's the main purity tester guy. And I didn't vote for Biden in 2020 because I didn't think he would pass my purity test. Now, at the time, people could go back and watch the video. My purity test.
You notice he keeps saying my.
Test was super fucking lenient. It was if I'm convinced you're going to do 2 or 3 of the things that I value highly, then I would vote for you. Because I know it's basically down to just the Democrat and the Republican, no matter how much we want to.
There they go with that crap. Guys, when somebody spit that crap out to you, you shut them down. You shut them down. See, Bree is shutting them down. How long are you going to keep saying this, man? The point is, this is the best chance. You trying to say this is the worst time. I'm saying this is the best chance for us to really break this duopoly system. I don't care nothing about Cornel West fighting with no freaking Jimmy Dore. I have my opinion on it. That's that. Let's shake it off and let's move forward. Stop trying to tell people what they should do and stop basing your support whether they listen to you or not. If Jimmy Dore said, I'm not going to support you, Cornel, move on. If if Cornel's not going to listen to you, Jimmy, move on. Press through. I don't care less about this stuff. This is the best chance. This is the best chance to get this stuff done. The break duopoly system. We got a man who has a commanding presence. Like I said, my issue is to Peter Dow. You need to get rid of Peter Dow. We're going to talk about Peter Dow tomorrow. But my issue is Peter Dow. But let me keep going. I'm going to stop this halfway and then we're going to pick up later. I'm going to stop this at the 30-minute mark as much as I can.
Wish the Green Party or Libertarians want to wish the Libertarian Party into existence. And so when I look at the record, again, I can list all the bad things.
See, he's undermining everything that you guys are working for. This condescending, arrogant, rich bastard. The bleach blonde has made him arrogant, cocky, elitist. They're the elite now. They are the very thing that they talked about, that they hate, they loathe. Kyle and Crystal Kalinsky are elitists. So their standpoint of talking to you is that stinking elitist. This talking point right here is elitist thinking. They're basically essing on everything concerning our great chance to break the duopoly system. See, it's not about just third party. I'm at war with the duopoly system. It's time to crush them. And that tool of third party is one of the best tools we got right now. Cornel West, I don't want to consider him a tool, but he is one of the best weapons we have to crush the duopoly system. I still got my issues with Cornel. I still got some problems. He will not get my vote 100% right now. There's certain things he need to do. Just like Kyle said, certain things Kyle need to do. No, certain things Cornel need to do. The reparation thing need to be strong. Protection bill for black people need to be strong. These people right here, man, trying to stop you.
But you just mentioned the NLRB raising overtime pay, or you mentioned the thing where, they automatically recognize the union if the bosses try to bust it up. There's also the overtime pay rule where now it's not $33,000, it's about $55,000 a year, where now you get overtime pay. That's a huge, huge change.
We're going to look into that because these people just say stuff just to be saying.
Student loan debt reduction, and even Biden coming back after the Supreme
Student loan debt reduction. What happened to canceling it?
Court tried to slap it down, and he said, no, I'm going to try to do it through the Higher Education Act now. There's little things we could go after him. Oh, the interest rate. Yes, that's bad. I agree with you on that. But we got to recognize that that is, all things considered, a step in the right direction. Pulling out of Afghanistan, he actually had the balls to do it, even when the media was shitting on him relentlessly. And I didn't see anybody on the left coming into his defense at that point in time.
A lot of people
I was like the only fucking one. It was like me and Matt Iglesias.
There you go. I was the only one. I was on. Most people don't care, Kyle. You think black people care about pulling out of Afghanistan? Should have been out of Afghanistan. There ain't nothing exciting and new. Should have been out. Shouldn't have been in there that long. Him pulling it out ain't no whoop-de-doo, wah-de-wah. Hooray, zip boom bah. Nobody's thinking about that mess. Should have been did that.
I definitely defended him.
Okay, well, then it's like three people. And all these, I'm so anti-war. He pulls out of Afghanistan, and it gets messy because that's what happens when you pull out of wars. And all of a sudden, oh my God.
A lot of people supported that and was happy that he finally pulled them out. Not just you, Kyle. A lot of people voiced that. Stop making yourself bigger than who you really are, man.
It's
I thought thought
the
it
end
was
of the
actually a
world.
good moment for the left. I saw a lot of consensus. Good on you, because we almost resented and kind of were enjoying the extent to which he was getting, dogpiled by the mainstream media, and we were the only ones defending him. So I would quibble with that a little bit. But
I didn't see much defending him. I really didn't.
Kyle, what people are responding to,
I ain't gotta defend him, man.
Can offer this is not the idea that you are accurately.
Let me stop for a second. Let me stop. These people want you to go out there and defend Joe. Why am I going to defend a man who came out with policies that decimated my community, set black people back instead of going forward? Why I'm going to sit there? I don't care crap. He could come out with some of the great. I remember what you did, and I remember your latest saying about that issue is that you wouldn't change it. That's your baby. That's the best, most creative piece of legislation you have written. That you're not going to overturn it or revamp it. That you're going to keep it just the way that. Matter of fact, you're going to add on to it. That's all I hear, Cal. Damn that other stuff. Excuse my language, Lord. Forgive me. People are still being affected by that crime bill. Still to this day. Some of those mandatory minimums still in place today. Some of that stuff still in place today. You walk by a school with a bag of weed in your pocket in some states, it still can cause you to go to jail. But you want to talk about some National Labor Relations Board. Boy. And pulling him out of Afghanistan. Oh, you should defend them. That Negro ain't defending black people. So why should we defend him?
Describing advancements, good things that Joe Biden is doing. I think you could also say Obama did some good things.
No, Biden is way better than Obama, not even close.
That's not the point I'm making.
Here
It's
you
not
go.
that one is better than the other. You could also sit here and say Obama did good things. Now, the way you bristled at me saying that, I could say, oh, why won't you just acknowledge that Obama did good things? The same way that you're saying that leftists won't acknowledge, they bristle when you acknowledge that Biden did good things. And it's because we have different standards and we're making different kinds of comparisons.
But that's not my issue, because they're not even acknowledging the good things, is my point. I have a list of 47 things here, and I've heard nobody talk about any of them.
But let me get to the core of this point. The reason that people are frustrated with that kind of analysis is because it's been used for so long by liberals to justify why people shouldn't be asking for more. I'm not saying that that's what you're doing. But if you bring up something like student debt,
yes, you are.
when the consensus of all of the student debt experts that I've talked to on my podcast, people from the Debt Collective, the Asher Taylors of the world, the legal experts I've brought on, is that there was a path toward doing this, to canceling all student debt that would not have been stymied by the Supreme Court. The same authority that Donald Trump used to enact the student debt moratorium, which has been ongoing until beginning of this month for the last 3 years, was the same authority that he could have canceled all student debt with a stroke of a pen. He chose not to do that because he decided to means test the program. He circulated those documents. I got one in my inbox last August, I believe it was, to see if you qualify for student debt. It was a very easy form. But when he did that, that started the clock for people to be able to challenge it in court, which 6 states did, 2 of them were successful, and now here we are today. Not only did he decline to do the unstoppable mechanism to actually cancel all student debt, he additionally chose to use a legal authority, which when many legal experts said was the most vulnerable one. So you're now saying,
No.
he could have used the Higher Education Act.
He did. He did. He invoked it.
He could have done that in the first instance.
But he didn't, and now he tried it again through the Higher Education Act. The idea that it's a conspiracy, he doesn't want to actually cancel it. No, he appealed the case 4 or 5 times,
Kyle,
and then at the end of it, when the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that, he said, fuck you, I can.
The point is, Cal, when you had the opportunity to do it, you didn't. You did it temporarily, so you can continue to keep people who are in debt on a string to continue to support you, so you can finally get student debt. The point is, you could have got it from the jump start, but you want to use people and make them think, well, we're not going to get it all on the jump start, but keep supporting me, keep pushing me, we're finally going to get it. When, Negro? You had a chance to do it right then. You could have nipped it in the bud right then. Why are you playing games with us, man? Why are you messing with our emotion now? Not me. I don't have student debt. Most people don't have student debt. Most black people don't have student debt, let alone white people or poor working class. Most people don't have student debt. So the majority of Americans, that's not going to be an issue. And there's some places that we can go to get education free, thanks to the state. Kyle is something else.
And he did the higher education act. That's exactly what we wanted him to do. Then he does it, and people go, "Oh, that's not good enough." And it's like, that's ridiculous.
There, Kyle. What we wanted him to do was first and foremost just cancel the student debt.
I expected him to do nothing on student debt. This is the point I'm trying to get across to you: is that I expected nothing from Biden, and he did.
And guess what? You got nothing. I didn't expect him to do anything, but he surprised me. So that makes me want to support him more. He surprised me, he shocked me, he did something good for me. Most people don't have student debt. And most black people don't have a huge amount of student debt. So why do you want most people to be happy and giddy because he did that? Now, don't get me wrong. This is America. We shouldn't be paying for school. We shouldn't be paying for healthcare, none of that. But this guy is stringing people along to continue to get them to support him to whatever position that's available. He just wants the continued support. So he's going to bait you. He's going to switch you. He's going to hang the carrot in front of you saying, hey, come on now, kids. I'm still working on this student debt loan program. I need your support here. I need your support there. Just keep supporting, fool. I ain't supporting you. You could shut that down a long time ago. Who the heck you think you are? Why you gaslighting me? Playing with my emotions like that? Just cancel the doggone debt. My whole point, and I'm closing right here because this is long. I'm going to stop here and pick up later on. My whole point is Cal and Crystal are paid tools by the establishment. I honestly don't think that's them. I honestly think they've been cloned. If any time there's a clone, these two are it. You got Clone Kyle and Stephanie's wife, Crystal Ball. They have adopted. They have become the replacement for Mika and Joe. At the end of the day, they're going to be on Morning Joe. This show they got is their version of Morning Joe. This is the Young Morning Joe show. The talking points is the same as Joe and Mika. It's just going to be from a lefty perspective, guaranteed to reach out to the 45 and under crowd. This is no different. Support the Democrat, push the Democrat, crap on third party, crap on Republicans. This is not a progressive show. Because if it was progressive, it would be supporting third parties. It would be open to reaching out to Republicans. Wouldn't be dogging them out. They're not progressive. This is a lefty media show, no different from MSNBC or CNN or Morning Joe. And they tout all the things that Biden did, which most of us not even interested. Joe Scarborough is over there yelling and screaming. Mika right there rubbing his back saying, that's right, baby. You let them know that they need to acknowledge Joe Biden like he Roman Reigns or somebody. Acknowledge me. Acknowledge what I did. Negro, you ain't doing nothing. You did some thing, but it ain't got nothing to do with me. Cal is doing the same thing. And he's mad at you because you won't bend the knee and say, acknowledge me to Joe Biden. I'm not acknowledging Joe Biden for jack. He owes black people. So whatever thing he do ain't going to impress me because you owe that to us. I'm not impressed. I'm not shocked. I was expecting him to do nothing and he did this, blew me away. I am expecting him to do something because he owes black people. The hell he put us through to satisfy Strong, Thurman, and Eastman and all those guys. I'm going to stop on this note. Let me finish this quote. Well, let him get the statement, then I'm done.
More than I expected. Let's be honest about that.
Let me pivot this conversation.
Let's be honest about that. That's you. That ain't me. You be honest about that. That impressed you. I'm not you, Kyle. Most people are not you. You're impressed. He shocked you. He ain't shocked me. He got a long way to go to shock me. You know what has shocked me? There's some money in the federal government that's sitting there that he can release for emergency purposes. He need to get that to the Foundation of Black America. That'll shock me. You want my vote? Do that. You want my vote? Don't talk about a commission. Stand there and say I support reparation to the tune, and I'm going to give it to black people if either put me back in office. I still ain't voting for that fool, but I have a level of respect for him. I don't respect you, Kyle, because you want us to be you and we're not. You want us to have the same outrage and you're not. You're doing the same thing that Jimmy Dore had. He had an outrage about the mask mandate, and I feel him on that. I was outraged too, but I got other priorities. And when my priority is not yours, you're going to get upset. We're going to pick this up tomorrow. I'm Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Show. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let me go to bed. I got to go to work tonight. I'll let y'all later. So I'm up here talking. This is pretty long, but we're going to pick up right here tomorrow.